Today on Ship Chasing, we have now memorized the Week 17 matchups, but it's time to order them. What are our favorite games? We're going to draft them, the three of us, myself, Davis, and Pat, and then to give the people what they really want, we will hop in a Ball Mania draft together. I'm Pete Overzet. This is actually how you start a show. Mike Shope and Pat Crane. Pat Fryer Helmo.
This is why I'm hot.
Anita Handjob.
Fix your sight.
Jamar. Alpha play chase.
Are you kidding me? Kadarius Toney?
You can't handle the heat.
It looks like we're finally Fist Boys. You're right.
What was so funny about that the start of ADP chasing, and if people missed it took about a minute for them to realize they were live. I got a
well, it said it was spinning. It didn't show us the live, you know.
I know, I've had that happen before too, but I got a comment on Spotify. We post all the episodes on Spotify, and I get the comments there, and someone was really mad about the hockey talk at the beginning.
Oh,
legit mad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there was a minute of dead air at the top. You're mad
better.
about I was just happy they started talking. I didn't care what it was about.
I think there's this deep thing that happens with the hockey talk where people resent the free time that Jacob has to be able to watch hockey and like then have informed opinions on that and on basketball and on fantasy football. Like there is a little bit of that, right?
And our American politics.
Yeah. There's something about hearing like him have, these like thought out opinions on something that like is gibberish to me, and I'm like, cool, can you think about what I like? Stop thinking about this other thing I don't like.
Yes, and he's a full-time lawyer.
Right.
He's a full-time lawyer. The other day, I was listening to some of my old school favorite Canadian indie rock bands, and I was listening to New Pornographers, and I thought of Jacob then too, because I'm like, I know Jacob likes the New Pornographers, and then he has like this robust, music interest. I'm just like, God damn it, Jacob, will you get like married and knock somebody up so you have the same
Jacob doesn't have any kids. You can tell that.
Well, not only no kids, I don't even believe he lives with a woman. So
he certainly does not.
I think he'd maybe be in a few less dynasty leagues if he did.
So the dude, like if you think about the amount of hours you spend in a time with your partner,
that's true,
your children and your dogs, you're just like, I could also have an opinion on like line combinations for the Ottawa Senators if I had that available.
All right, so check out ADP Chasing if you missed it, of course.
People are accusing me of making the comment on Spotify because I was sitting there just like, please end this hockey talk as soon as possible.
What I told this person is my guy Mark makes timestamps for every ADP chasing, every ship chasing. Like these timestamps, like the whole reason they are there is if you don't want the hockey talk, you can literally just press the button.
No, I couldn't.
Jump.
I couldn't do that.
Like, come on, please use the timestamps. They are there to be used.
Don't use them. Also, in solidarity with me to just sit through it.
Yeah, one other piece of housekeeping, though. I mentioned this at the end of last week's show. If you guys are in the Ship Chasing Discord, you probably saw a tag, but it might have gotten lost. We are hosting a Ship Chasing draft weekend, first weekend of August. We're going to be in Fort Lauderdale. There's info on the hotel. There's a room block so you can get the discount. We're going to have a day of drafting. We got a room already booked out at the hotel, overlooks the ocean. Going to be very fun. And then Sunday, we're going to caravan down to Miami. Our guy Chris G is hooking us up with some yachts. Obviously, there's some associated costs with this. All of those details are in the Discord, and there's a form. If you're interested in coming, we need you to fill that form out, because once we have those numbers, we're going to start figuring out what we can do draft-wise as far as putting together some IRL drafts. So if you're interested, hop in the Discord and fill out that form, and then we will have more details. I know, Pat, you just locked down your flight, right?
I just locked down my flights. Yeah. I know you're doing, because some people are coming in. I think pretty much everyone's coming in Friday is the idea. And then some people might fly out Sunday night. We're doing the yachts early enough so that if you did want to book like a Sunday night flight back, you could. Going back to California. I'm going to be there through Sunday night is what I'm deciding. But lock down the flights, got my room booked. I'm excited.
Yeah, Pat said for anyone who sticks around on Sunday night, He's going to hold court, and you can come ask him start-sit questions.
Oh yeah.
For the evening.
I wish the season had started because those are the best starts. I want to. You got an RB4. It's weird scoring settings. It's not normal scoring settings.
It's 0.25 points per carry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always weird scoring settings.
Okay. All right. So this is what we're gonna do today. Last week we memorized the games, and whenever I'm like doing drafts on my phone now, I seriously don't remember the mnemonic devices. I just remember our conversations about them, and then that helps me remember the teams. But
did you catch Shope on ADP chasing that he's so good at remembering? He like knows like the start time of the games and stuff. So then he like has to use the information he knows about the games and the matchups already in his brain to try to remember the mnemonic devices.
I got really mad at Shope when he was playing dense on not understanding Drake's on a plane. That was what I was really mad at him, and I almost let him.
He almost left it.
Okay, let's I'll get a little draft board up here. We can snake draft this. Obviously 16 matchups, so not every one of us will get even picks. It is what it is. Let me get the screen going. Davis, why don't we start with you? We'll give you the 101 here. What is your favorite week 17 matchup?
This game is so good that the next time I'm in a legal sports betting state, I'm going to bet an over for a game that is 6 months away. Give me the Sun Gods.
Yeah.
Give me
that's a really good one.
And I would like to make this point. A very middle IQ point is, dude, aren't you worried that so many people are going to have the combinations of these players? I would just like to get this out of the way. I am not worried about that actually at all. Many things I am worried about, that I am not.
So I think on that conversation, right, which is a very popular thing, to me, like you shouldn't be worried about a specific game. I think you should be more worried about players at the very top of the draft board who will be repeatedly stacked together. And obviously the Cincinnati Arizona game comes to mind, right? You were going to see so much Jamar Chase with Trey McBride or Marvin Harrison or T. Higgins. Like that combo is going to be very frequented. And I'm not even saying you should avoid it.
And you expect those players to hit lineups a lot, right? Like Neighbors Bowers, if they are advancing teams, they're like more than likely going to be hitting lineups. So there's just going to be, I don't know if you need to worry about the duplication per se, but it's at least something to consider. But like TJ Hawkinson and Isaac Tesla being overrepresented in the final, I simply don't care.
Yeah. Pat, do you have thoughts? Is there any chalk stuff that you're worried about?
I'm just not worried about chalk that way, really. I mean, I think you would be so happy to get a team to the finals. You'd just be so happy. If you get 2 to the finals, you're going to be like, taken to the streets and just telling anyone who will listen you got 2 to the finals. So, if I have a team that gets to the finals, and it's like I'm going to have, I want it to have correlation that I'm excited about. And I think, because everyone else is like, oh, I stacked this game a million times. Well, guess what? All of your teams didn't get to the finals because that's what's most likely to happen to every single one of us. So I just don't think you're going to be going up against chalk combos as much as, at least not to the extent that I'd be worried about it. The chalk that you'll be going up against is whoever happened to do well in week 15 and 16.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And in the regular season, right? There's going to be high advance rate players, and then they have the potential to be mega chalk if they do well in week 15 and 16. But that could be like you could have, you could be up against another Detroit, Minnesota team, but it could be like, a third round running back chalk that, it could be Bucky was the piece you needed, or there's a bunch of Bucky teams all got through or something like that. So it's just so random and so noisy. I don't think it makes sense to forgo correlation. Generally, I guess I should say what I'm more focused on in the correlation is trying to add it with targets that I already like. So the thing I do like about the Sun Gods one is that, Jefferson's clearly a target. I think Addison's a pretty good pick. Amon-Ra's underpriced. Hawkinson's a good pick. So there's like lots of, Gibbs has got a ton of ceiling. So there's just a ton of pieces I want on my teams in this game.
And the one thing I would say, the duplication that I would be worried about with, say, a chalk start isn't from the field, it would be within my own portfolio. I would not want all of my own Jamar Chase team
for
to
sure.
always have Trey McBride. Like, that's the part I'm worried about, where I'm like, I want to give myself outs to Jamar Chase being a smash that aren't always fully tethered to the Cardinals or whatever.
100%.
That if you're listening, that you should like earmark that, like write it down on a notepad or something. That's actually the speaking for personal experience. When you run into all the good combinations of players you ran into, like I would have to go look, but I bet all like my Chase Brown running back 2 smash teams probably were just getting punched in the face by Rashee Rice zeros, just getting like, just like getting destroyed by them. So very, very good point, Peter.
Davis, on this one, any favorite early angles to stacking this game? Obviously, Lions and Vikings pretty expensive, but anything you've been doing?
Well, yeah, you get Jefferson at 1 or at 2 or at 3, and then you because people listen to Jacob and Pat and not me, you could take Jameson Williams in the 5th.
Ooh, okay.
That around early.
And
sure.
and if you get Laporta coming back around, if the St. Brown drafter takes another quarterback or they take Lamar or whatever, you can really push Goff as well. I've seen round 12 Goff in that permutation of things. So it's pretty nice.
All right. Yeah. Are you doing, I'm writing about this for Fantasy Life tomorrow. I like wanted to look into all the round 3 wide receivers, but this is a round 3 wide receiver bowl here. Are you doing any Ty Felton and Isaac Tesla?
I am like the world's largest Ty Felton bowl who's not blood related to him or didn't go to University of Maryland. This is my operating theory, Corinne. I've been wanting to toss this to you on a show. Do you think that because he was the final pick of the 3rd round, many slappies actually just did not realize he was a round 3 pick because they'd already gone to bed or like, done the next, they woke up the Ty Felton. When did the Vikings take him? No, they just actually don't realize he was a 3rd round pick.
I think that's true. I was like, was he a 3rd or 4th?
Exactly.
There is something about him. And I also think Ty Felton he's drafted, I think, kind of specifically to be like a speed deep threat, probably like rotational guy, which is not, you don't get as excited about that. He's going to be the 4th target on this team, maybe the 5th behind a running back. Like you just don't expect much target share for him. But we could be wrong. Like he could be really good, and also he could be, spiking at the end of the season as just like a deep threat dart throw type. So I think he's in the draftable player pool for me.
I take him. I mean, I'd have to go look right now, but I bet he's like relative to field ownership. I would bet he's like my most overweight player right now, or whatever.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we have him like we haven't won. Let's see. No, so we don't have him boosted up. So he ends up at 210 in the ranks. Maybe I'll boost him. Get him into round 200.
Be careful saying that word these days.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, Pat, you're on the clock with the 102 Lions Vikings. The Sun Gods off the board. Where are you going?
So I did this whole thing about how I'm not afraid of the chalk and stuff. So let me just put my money where my mouth is there and go ahead and take the chalk game. Cardinals at Bengals.
Okay.
I mean, one thing about the Cardinals, we saw last year, they really want to run the ball. And so going up against the Bengals, I think you do have the potential for this to be like actually low owned, like in terms of who actually, it's not going to be low drafted, but I wonder if like advancing Kyler and stuff through the 2 weeks isn't going to be as easy as people think.
It's so funny because the Bengals are so expensive. I don't know who they play in week 16, but like, let's say they score like 2 touchdowns and one of them is like a Mike Gesicki touchdown or something. Then all of a sudden, because they were your 1st, 2nd, 3rd round picks or whatever, like Chase Brown, like their barrier for helping you advance is pretty high. Like if Jamar Chase gets 12 points as the 101, his ownership in the final should be like fairly low.
For sure. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's a high bar for what you need from Chase. The Bengals, their schedule, they're going up against the Ravens, the Dolphins, and the Cardinals. So it could be the case that like Burrow's just the dude you need to get to the playoffs like last year, which obviously has a lot of value. But then you also, on the Cardinal side, they're going against the Texans, the Falcons, and then the Bengals. So it's like maybe a little bit less exciting, or they might be in a position where they can run the ball more. It seems to be what they want to do. So I don't know. From that angle, I'm kind of intrigued by the Cardinals side of it. But I just think I think Kyler's a really good pick. I like Marvin Harrison as a pick. I think Trey McBride's an awesome pick. Connor's totally fine. I take Benson. So I'm just kind of in on the Cardinals is a big part of this. And then it's easy to do. It's really easy to get Bengals bringbacks, which is maybe the critique of it. It's too easy to do. But, I like that I'm not having to reach for Week 17 bringbacks on this one.
Yeah, and there's some good ones in there too, like the deep ones, like Michael Wilson, Mike Gesicki are like both the kind of archetype who can like steal production away from the other players, where it's like you sneak through. Like, could you take totally
Yoshi Boss too?
Yeah, Yoshi. And there's, I'm
gross,
telling you,
I think he's the starter. So
there's a strong Taj Brooks hive out there. I've learned as well.
I'm not really drafting Brooks much, but I will hammer Brooks if he's the number 2. If it's clearly him and not Moss, I'll hammer
for
Brooks.
Sure. All right, I got 2 picks here at the turn. I'm going to do the number 2 game on my big board here. That falls to 3. I'm doing the Bears.
What was your
Niners,
number 1?
Lions Vikings.
Lions Vikings. Yeah.
See, and I remember that the Bears play the Niners. I'm never going to forget that. What was our mnemonic for Bears Niners?
Golden Bears.
Golden Bears. Okay. This one I like because of the way like the stacking dynamics work out. There's basically a Bear or Niner in every round from like round 4 to 9, and then capping off with the quarterbacks. So it's kind of like nice to like zig and zag your way through here. There's players at different price points, like 3 pass catchers on each of these teams, plus the tight end. Loveland, I guess, is the cheap one outside of that window. But yeah, this one just lines up really clean. And I think I just have that Niners-Lions game emblazoned in my head from last year, and just think if the Bears take the leap that we all think they can, that this will be just kind of one of those out-of-division fantasy bonanza games.
I like it.
And then I'll double tap. I'll go with Rams Falcons, our Raheem Morris, Penix staph infection here. Give me the dome. Give me 2 offenses. The Falcons will be improved. All kinds of weapons galore here. Some cheap late options as well. Super cheap quarterbacks too, which make it a fun game to stack here. Any thoughts on Rams Falcons?
This one, I don't know. Cardinals Bengals just gives the vibe to me of like the Bengals or the Cardinals are going to find a way to ruin that game. Rams, Falcons,
they might try.
Rams Falcons feels like, I don't know, it's in a dome. It's like 2 one very questionable defense in the Falcons. The Rams, like if the Rams have like a Jared Verse injury, like they don't have any other blue chip players, like it could go south pretty quick. I like
you
that.
You mean south in a good way? Yeah.
South in a good way for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, even though I agree with, I like Lions Vikings at 1, I tend to like the non-divisional games a little bit more for Week 17.
Yeah, I hear you.
For like boomer reasons, like second divisional games always lower scoring.
Yep.
Yeah. Just that you do have the wide range of outcomes.
Teams haven't seen each other.
Yeah. But like the dome in those 2 offenses, like I think it clearly trumps it here at 1. But in the perfect world where you get these like weird pairings, like Bears Niners just feels like a weird pairing to me.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, you guys are kind of bringing up some things I hadn't thought about. The dome element I think is important. I like Dave was saying this game could go south in a good way. We talked about the Penix staph infection. I went with Penix gets horny. Now I'm wondering if I should have gone with horny Penix gets dome goes south. It's like a newspaper headline.
Goes south versus good
Shope
dome.
got totally lost there. Shope was like, it's just too hard. It's just
He's not gonna remember that at all.
Yeah.
See, I like Staff because I think any of the puns with that player's name like immediately get the job done.
Yeah.
So Staff instead of Horn is helpful.
Right.
For me.
Right. It was too gross for the graphic though, so we had to adjust it.
All right, you're on the clock with Game 5 here.
Yeah, I'm trying not to do Davis dirty here.
Do it.
But I'm not really seeing much else I actually want to take.
All is fair in love in Week 17 game stack.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do it. I'm gonna take bow and arrow.
Okay.
Denver at
Oh,
KC.
dude, this is
I
like
don't think Davis was
like
gonna take that.
11th on my big board.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Davis, it's literally 11th on mine.
Yeah.
That was
Well, the reason
All right.
I picked this one is that Knicks is expensive, and so if you do stack this game up, like if you go Rice, and then you do like a Harvey, you can go through the Mahomes route, which I think is the more interesting route. And so it's like some of the Denver stuff's been hard for me to like stack.
True or
And so
false? Michael Leone will have Bo Nix projected for more underdog points in Week 17 than Mahomes.
on the road.
It's very realistic.
I think it'll be close. Yeah.
It'll be Nix will be projected for 18.7, but his ceiling projection will be higher. Mahomes will be projected for 19.4. His ceiling projection will be 26.2. I just came back from the future to tell you guys what Michael Leone thinks is going to happen.
You could have waited another couple days and actually seen it.
I think my biggest knock on this pick, Pat, is just like Arrowhead in the dead of winter.
Let me
fair.
tell you, that is an inhospitable. I've been to Arrowhead games in December. Not a particularly fun place to be for anyone, really.
I do think this matchup makes drafting a little more fun, though. Like I thought about some of the other ones, and it's just like, what you actually come away with drafts. You can.
This one is nice because the players are distributed throughout the entire draft at a pretty steady clip.
Exactly.
Yeah. The Broncos are super easy to backstack. Yeah, there's a Chief every 2 rounds.
And we just don't know what's going to happen in the end of December. Like
we just don't.
Let me get the ones where I can actually draft it.
Yeah.
This game is beautiful, guys.
Davis, you have back-to-back picks here.
All right. Dyson darts, Giants Raiders.
I thought I could sneak that by you.
Giants Raiders is great for high-end reasons, right? You've got your Neighbors, you've got your Bowers, you've got your Jeanty. Also good in the mid rounds with Besh. I know Pete disagrees with me there, but the real value is that when you're panicking, you always have you have double backstacks there. So Geno and Thornton, or Geno and Trey Tucker, not great. You don't feel good about it. But Dart Slayton, Dart Wandale, Dart Theo, Dome game, Week 17, these two teams are both going to be eliminated. Like, it's going to be a total who cares, situation. I think this could be the Jets-Browns game where the teams don't care, and it's just like, just two dudes just chucking it. Brian Dable is already in Cancun. He's been fired 4 weeks ago. Like, it's I think this game's great.
I've been really warming up, obviously on Neighbors teams, but doing Dart Theo Johnson at the very end to just round it out. I've really been enjoying those kind of backdoor stacks.
Yeah. So I'm tempted to do Commanders Cowboys for this next one, but realistically, every Commander feels bad at cost. Like every Commanders player feels about 6 spots too expensive for me. I think the Dallas guys are all priced really well. These are 2 bad defenses. It is outdoors in Washington, D.C. in January.
Are you picking this or not? I can't.
No.
It's are you just stealing all the talking points for when one of us does pick this?
No, I'll take the layered bowl where you like the prices on all the players.
Yeah, I like that. There you go. Bucs at Dolphins. Yeah, the chat was saying that you could make the case for them to be as high as 2. And I do think that's the case. You're getting the warm weather. Obviously, they're 2 Florida teams. Bucs seem to like push everyone. This seems to come down to like the Dolphins and like what their identity is.
Where's Tua?
Yeah. So both your picks. I was hoping to get the Giants Raiders with this next pick, so I do like that one a lot. And I obviously thought about the Bucs and the Dolphins, but there's some like kind of downside risk to these teams where you mentioned Daboll might be fired for the Giants. I don't think that's good. Like I want Daboll there. I think he adds ceiling to the offense. And then like with Tua and stuff, and the Dolphins, like even with Tua last year, were like so boring the way they ran the offense. So I don't know. You have like some questions about the stability of these offenses through the course of the entire 2025 season.
This game going north is very funny. I'll tell you, best case scenario is Bucs and Dolphins both are at like 9 wins and just like dying to be the 7th seed, right? That is you're like, wow. The total's 51.5. Mike Evans is hobbled a little bit, but he's playing because the game is so important. Like, yeah, it's just, I mean, probability that's pretty low, right?
All right, Pat, you're on the clock here. Game number 8.
I'll do Buffalo wings and cheesesteaks.
Okay.
I'm betting on the big name quarterbacks. This is clearly what I'm doing. So I'll keep that trend going. I think these two teams can push each other. It's like a little bit fragile. The Eagles obviously want to repeat the formula they had last year where they run the crap out of the ball. The Bills like to run it more than they ever used to before. But you do have 2 really, really potent offenses that could be pushing each other. I mean, you could just see an absolute ton of points in this game if both offenses play up to their potential. So little fragile, but the ceiling on this game is just massive. And then it's not the most stackable, but you can do stuff. You can do like Allen Brees. And Allen you're often having trouble stacking him. So having the ability to just like lock in the correlation right there is kind of nice. And then Shakir tends to weirdly go on the other side of the board now, closer to Hurts. So he's available as a bring back if you want to be, if you want to ruin your friendship with Davis and take Khalil Shakir.
I also think, even though this is outdoors in Buffalo, I think this game, its total is insulated just with the amount of offensive firepower that you're going to have on both sides.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is one of those games where it's like it could be a blizzard and it still would have like a total of 48, I feel like, I had this one high up on my board here, but the number 4 on my big board is still available here. And I think when I floated this, when we were talking about the names, you guys weren't maybe as excited about this game as me, but I'm going Texans Chargers, our divisional rematch. I had highlighted the twinning of ADPs with these guys, Nico and Latterly, Amari and Hampton, Joe Mixon, Jaden Higgins, Trey Harris, and then Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud. So you can kind of like choose your own adventure at those price points. And I also think for like week 17 purposes, the amount of rookies in this game and potential like rookie breakouts peaking around this time makes it really fun. Between you could just figure like Omari and Hampton and one of those Texans wide receivers are like legit entrenched fantasy superstars by the time this game rolls around. So I think there's a lot where even how we perceive these teams could change by week 17.
I like that one. Yeah, I was probably
Game sucks.
not as hyped about that one as I should have been.
I think this is you're staring down the barrel of 22 Joe Mixon rushes, 11 Najee rushes, 14 Amari and Hampton rushes, and 1 like grimaced look from Justin Herbert as he gets up from a Will Anderson quarterback hit.
No, you're scarred. You're scarred from last year's team. I mean, this is where CJ Stroud refines his form. The Chargers unlock the passing game with the addition of Trey Harris. Amari and Hampton's actually out there catching passes. They're playing a little faster. You got to see the vision here, Davis.
You could have seen me with Keandre Lambert-Smith, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not to that part of my infatuation with this game. I will say next on my big board is Cowboys and Commanders, and I refuse to take it because Davis already has all the talking points for it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go one more down my board, the number 9 game. I'm doing Jags at Colts.
Nice.
This one definitely has a wide range of outcomes, division matchup. Who knows what the quarterback situation is going to be for the Colts. However, dome game here. These teams have historically played really silly games against each other. You could just figure not a lot of defense being played here. You got big play guys, Jonathan Taylor, Brian Thomas, dare I say Travis Hunter. I could have previously said Beshel Tootin. I'm not allowed to say that anymore because he fumbled on his first career carry.
It's over.
I see the potential for this one.
I like it. Yeah, I thought about this one too. I think you could have this game has some of that it could be kind of a stinker, but in a fun way. It could go south. It could.
It could definitely. Yeah. It could definitely. You're watching this game, and Anthony Richardson, who has been benched, started, and then benched again, and now is starting week 17, can't complete a pass. I can see that scenario.
All right. I should note that I am sick. I'm not sure what I got, but I'm sick enough to just. And you guys also know that I'm sick as far as fantasy goes. So I just decided that Breece Hall was on the Eagles in my last thing and said you could pair Allen with Breece. I meant Allen with Devontae Smith. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about Breece now because I'm going to take Drake's on the plane.
Wow. Patriots, Jets at 12.
Patriots,
Pat slightly reaching for something involving Drake May is a tale as old as time.
Yeah, I mean, this is the general ballpark of where it's acceptable.
It's the general ballpark. I have about 14, so I just had to get in the dig. You taking him one round ahead of ADP to lock it up. You got
to lock it up. I mean, the thing with May and Fields is that, it's like, how many pieces are you going to stack with these guys, right? You have Garrett Wilson, you got Breece. It's like, Mason Taylor's probably the next guy we're really interested in on the Jets outside of Breece's backups. So you're not going to have a ton of stacking partners with Fields necessarily, but you can do bring back stuff with Hunter Henry or Kyle Williams. But then May doesn't have any early pieces that you're all that excited about. So having Wilson or Breece helping set up May, I think they kind of mesh decently well together. I was a little disappointed for this matchup when the schedule came out. It's not as high, you don't get as excited about it as some, why not give them the Panthers? That'd be fun. The terrible defense. That would be much better. But I could still see this game being pretty fun with both offenses improving from last year.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep. Yeah, and we're putting so much weight just solely on Drake May and Justin Fields to get this done because there's not a lot else.
I was thinking it's Fields. Like I just expect May to be like the 11th best quarterback in football. I feel like it's much more on Fields.
Yeah. I just mean that because the lack of weaponry in both offenses where we're going to need like one of those guys ripping off a 40-yard rushing touchdown. And it's like, all right, let's get this thing.
How about both? Why not both?
Yeah, there you go. Davis, you're on the clock here with back-to-back picks, 12 and 13.
All right. I mean, I will take Commanders Cowboys. Like Commanders Cowboys was in conversation in my last turn and you guys said,
yeah, we remember.
Yeah,
a lot of conversation.
You talked about it more than your actual pick.
That's why none of us took it.
The Cowboys prices are all good, right? Pickens good, Lamb good, Dak good. The running backs are all good, right? Ferguson.
Prices, you mean?
Prices, sure. Ferguson, fine. Slurpin Turpin, round 18, sure. Probably not taking Tolbert.
No.
Commanders, Brian Robinson, good price. Jaden Daniels, I think I'm up to 9% of Jaden Daniels now. Kind of sided with him as my elite quarterback of choice there. But, man, I just cannot look Terry McLaurin in the eye in the third round. I'm having a hard time having that conversation with Scary Terry. And then Debo, formerly one of my favorite players. But Sam Sherman just made a great point to me on my stream, which is that when you start making excuses for a player in a good way with injury. You're like, oh, actually, it's good. It's bullish. Actually, that Debo was injured last year as the explanatory variable for why he was so bad. It's like, I don't know. Is there a more likely profile to go to 0 overnight than a compact 205-pound efficiency only guy? I don't know. It seems bad.
Davis, let me ask you a question. If you're bullish on Jaden Daniels and you hate Terry McLaurin's age, Debo Samuel is massively overvalued. How is he taking you to the promised land?
His legs, I guess.
Here are some players for the Washington Commanders who ended up being fantasy relevant.
Can't wait to be read the roster.
The greatness. Olamide Zaccheaus. Ever heard of him? Noah Brown. He made a player formerly who only was known for doing a bit where he called him dynamic. Made De'Ami Brown $10 million for the Jaguars. We had the year 9 breakout for Jeremy McWeapon. We all had to learn Jameson.
Never in doubt.
Crowder was still in the NFL. It's all Jaden. It always was.
But I think that actually does make, like, Jaden Daniels, you can do naked. He's a true dual threat. Like, it's fine. And I think the fact that Terry McLaurin, you are paying. I think he's a better pick than you do. But I get it. It's like we're kind of asking for something he's never really done, and like, he's old, So, and then you get the Debo stuff, but you could see like McLaurin just kind of doing his McLaurin stuff, Debo being a bust, it getting spread out with all these other guys. You can do like Zach Ertz is totally fine as a pick. So
to me, all those names you just read off to me are the bull case for Debo Samuel. This guy makes anyone look incredible. Like, I was playing Olamide, I was betting his overs like down the stretch, and you're now telling me that I can get that attached to an even better player in Debo Samuel. I don't know. Like, I get excited about anyone within Jaden Daniels' orbit.
I mean, I'm down to stack Debo with Jaden Daniels. I'm not.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm just saying I don't think you have to be in on Debo.
No.
To, you can go pretty thin with the stacks or even naked with Jaden Daniels.
But I do think if Jaden Daniels does go scorched earth again and finishes, as the QB1 or QB2, I feel pretty good about Terry McLaurin or Debo having a massive year. In like even last year on a weekly basis, like Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels were highly correlated together. Like when you looked at the BRs, there were a lot of weeks where Terry was coming along for that ride just with how they connected on the big because of the big plays. All right, Davis, you have another pick here after Cowboys Commanders.
I'll take Saints Titans.
Oh,
At least it's got
Thank you.
in it.
That's why I was worried I was going to end up with this one.
Yeah.
This is Soccer Dave's number one game. And Davis just got it at pick
the rookie
13.
QB bowl.
It is nice that at least like you could do like in round 14, you could just decide I'm totally stacking this game up. You could do Cam Ward, Tyler Lockett, Tyler Shuck, Juwan Johnson, Chig Okonkwo with your last 5 picks, I guess.
This is before we even named the Titans rookie wide receivers. I still think one of those guys could end up being firmly on our draft radar.
Yeah, Io Manor
at some
sure.
point. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, you do have the late season. God, it's just tough with Shuck on the Saints. It's tough to get excited.
He's got a golden retriever named Murphy, dude. It's fate.
All right.
I saw Nick Underhill was tweeting today that he was tweeting about Rattler too.
He had a nice deep ball to Shaheed in practice.
Shaheed, yeah.
That's all I needed to hear.
Dude,
basically.
that connection, it's undeniable. All right, Pat. There's 3 more games left here.
Yeah, I think there's 2 that are pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna take the Ravens and the Packers.
Yeah.
Just kind of complete the narrative. I'm just betting on offenses is really what I'm doing. The Ravens, I think, the mnemonic that I went with on the graphic was Big Dog in the Frozen Tundra. We talked about Alabama running back bowl, but Zach was pointing out there's quite a few more Alabama running backs. Not as easy to remember. So, if it is the Big Dog in the Frozen Tundra, that's not going to be that fun. But Henry's Henry's pretty old. You know, he's missed the end of the season before, and this is the game, right? Am I wrong? No. Oh no, that was against the Vikings. I guess it was. They weren't playing each other, but 2 years ago, you needed Ravens and you needed Packers to score well in the final. You know, we know that both these offenses can put up a lot of points. You probably need some things to break right for them to put up points against each other, since they both really do want to run the ball. But potent offense has been kind of my theme here, and I get 2 more here.
And I think this is a fun one. Like, you know, again, we want to practice humility in how we're correlating these and kind of correlate indiscriminately. However, like, these are the really fun ones to do with Derrick Henry, Packers passing game, Josh Jacobs, Baltimore passing game, and play that game flow that one team has the lead happening on the ground, and then the other team who traditionally wants to run is actually forced through the air and has to play catch up. Like, those correlations, I think, line up really nicely for that game.
Yeah, people commenting about Henry's contract extension and stuff. I think that would just, you know, reinforce the idea of what they want to do, which is run a lot with Derrick Henry. I'm not arguing that they don't want to do that, but you can't pay someone to not be 31 years old, turning 32 in January. Like, that doesn't matter at all. How much money he's paid does not affect the physical condition that his body is in at the end of the year. So we'll see. You know, I think it's sort of as soon as, like, the Ravens have to air it out, maybe it's game script. Maybe Henry's fine. Or if the Packers have to air it out, both teams can put up points in a hurry through the air.
Yeah. The game I'm taking before the Turd Bowl, we can, like, I think that was going to be everybody's last place game, so I'll put that in as my last pick. But I am feeling like I'm getting a little value on Seahawks Panthers because of Drake's on a plane and Saints Titans going ahead of this. But Seahawks Panthers here, I think this game, the reason it should be a little higher to me is just because of how easy it is to backstack both of these teams. Obviously, Carolina, I think, is probably the best backstack team in the entire pool, just for how many options are there. And then, you know, with the Seahawks, Darnold being so cheap, you can get some of the rookies in there. Even if MBS is your thing, you know, there's something like that. But I could see this being a game where both the defenses suck, and we kind of get an encore of what Bryce Young did at the end of last year.
I thought pretty hard about taking this one. I think the potential for the Seahawks to just, like, bottom out pretty, like, by, like, maybe even mid-season, you know, or like week 10, 11, 12, just have Darnold turn back into a pumpkin. And you might have Jalen Milroe in this game. This game could be
the injury.
Really
just anytime we start talking about the injury guarantee stuff for the quarterback, you're just in a nexus you don't want to be in.
Yeah, but I like the Panthers part of it. I mean, their defense stinks. It's going to be bad again. You know, Bryce Young, I think they're down to let him throw and chuck it. So that side of it, and I guess there's some bench risk. He was literally benched last year for Andy Dalton for a while, but you know, I think he's probably the quarterback at the end of the year. So the Carolina side I like a lot. The Seattle side just concerns me.
Yeah, I agree. The Seahawks part is the concerning. I kind of like that the Seahawks aren't at home. The weather should be maybe slightly better in Carolina. And then 2, it's just like, you don't want Seattle being able to play from the lead and just running the entire time. Yeah. Like, can we get this a little bit more competitive and have the Seahawks as the ones in a negative game script? So there you have it. The draft there, I think, mostly skewing toward chalk order. Obviously, some slight discrepancies here and there. You know, Cowboys Commanders, probably the biggest slip just relative to what that total will be. Definitely make the case for it to go a little bit higher. But there you go. Let's hop in a draft. I just got in a 20-second. We need 6 people. If you guys want to be in a BBM 20-second draft, and we'll see which of these games we can target.
Saints Titans, dude.
All right.
Tyler Shuck.
Bourbon and Broadway.
Shuck playing just good enough to convince the Saints to not draft a quarterback in the first round next year would be a great bit. Like a truly great bit.
I'm hoping that the Saints bottom out, get the 101, and then Arch Manning goes back to school.
Peyton's son.
Peyton's son.
Oh, is that who? I was wondering if there was any relation.
No, he's not Peyton's son. He's the other brother's son.
I apparently was the only one who didn't know. Truly the only person who did not know.
And you were immediately out on him. That he
immediately out. Yeah, immediately.
Well, I think it helps because he's athletic.
Right, because Cooper was a wide
You gotta
receiver,
hit that little wheel,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's see. We have a late slot here. 1-9. Here was.
I like the back half of the board.
Yeah. Let me get this draft board up.
I agree. Back half of the board, strong.
Okay. This could put us in Dyson Darts territory potentially.
Crane. I've moved McCaffrey up to 9.
Yeah, we moved him up. I think he's 9 or 10.
I just don't see, and that will end up
9.
Being after,
he's 9 for us.
That will end up being after ADP by, I don't know, July 1st probably.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. We are on the clock. Jeanty, Amon-Ra, Nico, CMC.
You guys have a preference? I'm good with it.
I'm on the record as being scared about Jeanty.
Let's
take McCaffrey.
Let's take McCaffrey.
Okay, let's put our nuts on the table. Take some McCaffrey.
Yeah. Peter is scared of the generational talent playing in a dome, highest volume rushing offense the NFL has ever seen, but so he's scared.
Wait, the Raiders are going to be the highest rushing offense?
Chip Kelly, baby.
Chip Kelly was the set the modern day record for seconds per play with the Eagles. But it's fine, dude. It's fine.
I've never seen someone less convinced than Pete right now.
Well, I thought you were going to talk to me about rushing statistics, and you just said they played fast, which I was confused by.
More plays equal more rushes.
Okay, it could also.
He does run a lot. Chip Kelly runs more than you think.
Chip Kelly loves
more than I thought he would.
Yeah.
He loves it.
Let's see. Smooth. Okay, I was like, if you let Brian Thomas fall to 16,
I'm down to take
Derrick
Bowers
Henry,
here.
Brock Bowers, AJ Brown.
Bowers is actually a nice little lever here because if you look at ADP wise, he's going to be so much more combinatorially overrepresented with Jeanty and with Neighbors.
That's
okay.
True. And then you're going to get to the final, and there's going to be like one other team that you're worried about.
And then it doesn't matter. But like you said, Pat, it's more about the combos of advancing to the final.
Right.
Yeah, let me get some ranks.
A little bit easier in your week 16 pod, brother.
The CMC Bowers, I guess that's kind of probably unique right now because it's essentially 2 second-round picks. We're not people aren't really doing that at the turn.
Sometimes you see it at the turn. Maybe I see it more in my rooms because there are a lot of slappies in there. But it will end up being common though, is the thing.
Yeah.
Because what's
going
to happen is Brian Thomas Jr. and Nico are going to get a little bit marginally less expensive.
You think Nico will?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he should.
Basically, it's just like the players do have to go in some order.
Right. But like Nico,
people love Nico, man.
They should love Nico. He was clearly the guy with Tank and Diggs healthy.
Yeah.
I think them bringing in some rookie reserves and Christian Kirk is like good for him. It should help keep the offense going. We already know he can dominate targets, over solid competition.
That's the only thing about the CMC move up. I guess two things. If I play the devil's advocate side of it, people do feel really burned by the lack of clarity on the injury reporting surrounding him last year, where I think there's going to be a healthy dose of skepticism, no matter how many CMC looks great in training camp. It's like, yeah, you also told us he was going to play that week. You put him on IR for 6 weeks.
Shanahan's
so I do wonder.
Liar.
Yeah.
He's a legit liar.
Terry almost made it back to us. That could have been a fun click. JSN, yeah, at 33.
Yeah.
Come on, Davis. Let us value.
You gotta take. Oh, I mean, like I said, I'm drafting like Leone this year, so Leone would not look a gift horse in the mouth there.
I also think it's your wide receiver one. Like JSN, I'm a little bit worried about the late season stuff, but
he had
going to get a bunch of volume.
He had the most fake wide receiver 1 season of all time. Wide receiver 10 in total points. Wide receiver 22 in points per game.
Yeah, it wasn't
like insanely fake.
Right.
But he got much better year 1 to year 2. Now he's year 2 to year 3, and there's a clear vote of confidence from the front office sending Metcalf away, saying we're not paying Metcalf, we're saving that money to pay you.
And he's like what, wide receiver 19 here off the board, I think. Just counting quickly. So seems good.
Yeah, we start CMC, Bowers, JSN. Getting some falls in this room. I'm trying to think we had Josh Allen go at 26. So that contributed. Adams went a little earlier. We can set up that correlation with Tet.
Set it up.
Yeah, that's really JSN.
And I love how we're talking about how we don't really care about uniqueness, but I can't help but think JSN Tet is pretty unique.
Yeah.
I think ADP wise, it actually lines up pretty clearly. We just are Tet slappies.
No.
Well, Tet will fall to the other side.
JSN's anchored to this side of the
Tet falls.
But Tet falls sometimes. But McCaffrey and Bowers with these has to be. It cannot be. This has got to be a unique start, guys.
Dude, we're the only JSN, Tet, Bowers, McCaffrey team in the tournament.
I think we might be.
I would wager on that.
I'm doing a bit, but I'm also not.
I would wager that by the end of Best Ball Mania, there is roughly a 5% chance that we're the only team with that combination.
Damn, I'll take it.
Maybe I just draft with leg up subs too much, but I never see Tet fall to 44, which is what would line up with JSN's.
I've taken Tet in a puppy in the last 2 days at the 4-5 turn because I know I have him with the chase team.
Wow. Numi, throw that out.
Numi, I need it. It's the only thing I've got.
I tagged Numi for this draft. I heard Davis got the puppy. The integrity of the contest is ruined with Tet sliding 8 picks.
My current favorite best ball conversation to never participate in. I get this. You guys probably are mentally healthy and never check the For You tab, but I get this on the For You tab where it will be all people arguing about, is it morally just to take Burrow at 70 before the Higgins and the Chase drafter have a chance to do it to protect the integrity of the contest?
I love these people. All right, let's see here. A little Harvey. Get a second.
Yeah, let's take Harvey. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Harvey's great with this team because the McCaffrey drafter is so uninterested in RJ Harvey most of the time. The McCaffrey drafter is like, give me Mixon or give me death here.
I don't know if I'm comfortable profiling the CMC drafter in 2025 quite as much like that.
I mean, do whatever you want, Peter. I don't care.
I'm just saying, I don't know if CMC is like a boomer drafter pick.
You think he's actually now gone to he's a first round running back, but he is a slappy pick.
Yeah. I feel like
how upset do you think McCaffrey would be if he were to learn that he's now left wing slappy? You think that would really upset him?
I bet he's socially liberal, fiscally conservative, Christian McCaffrey, if I had to guess.
That wouldn't be my bet.
Okay. You want to do Jauan Jennings with CMC, Godwin?
Yeah.
Take a wide receiver.
Let's do Jennings.
Let's take this year's Marquez Callaway.
I heard you guys mention that. I was like,
Russell Gage, baby.
Jauan Jennings has that level of
Marquez Callaway also went to the University of Tennessee.
But the reason that comp made me so mad when I heard it is because Callaway was this deep ball specialist too that we were wish casting into becoming a target hog.
He was basically not a real player.
Targets. Yeah, I know.
Marquez Callaway was basically not a real player.
He really was. I mean, I just pulled him up. He had done really nothing before we decided he was like the guy. So yeah, I mean, Jennings would be Marquez Callaway if like Ayuk got hurt in the preseason and Debo had fallen off the year before, and we just started like putting targets on this guy.
The Russell
He actually was good last year.
The Russell Gage comp is way
better. That one strikes me as a little better because
although I can't
he changed
imagine
teams
though.
Yeah, he had a good year for the Falcons, then changed teams to the Bucs and looked like he was in line for volume, and turns out was not.
Well, he got hurt too, right?
He ran 404 routes that year, so I don't think so.
The integrity of the contest is ruined because Joe Burrow fell back to the Chase drafter at 6. Where was the hero? Where are the heroes that I see
the
on
Higgins
Twitter?
Drafter passed.
P McDonald 7 taking Rizzy Pearsall instead of Joe Burrow.
Wow. Well, he took
Russell Gage was going higher than 80th, and it's just very funny how you remember these things. Our boy Fantasy Mojo was a huge Russell Gage guy, and I just was spending the entire summer just being like, this is actually the worst pick I've ever seen in fantasy football. So like every year when I message him to get my Mojo password renewed, he will always say something about Russell Gage.
The best part of that story is you emailing him to get your password renewed.
Why do you need to renew your password? I don't understand.
It ain't free, brother. Mojo ain't free.
Yeah, but I signed up at Fantasy Mojo. You just sign up. He's got like a normal payment processing.
You guys want to do Burden bring back? I don't know if we want. Do we want to also tack on Ayuk down?
I'm good with Burden or Ayuk.
I think I like Hawkinson to set up another quarterback.
No, we had Brock.
We need the receiver, I think.
Oh, I forgot we have Brock. So I'm currently not taking Luther Burden. I'm on like kind of a hiatus on him because not really sure there's a worse way to start your career as a guy who like kind of has like work ethic, like development questions than injured my hamstring at OTA.
Yeah, I did forget about that. Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That is like
be more price conscious. Yeah.
Well, it's just one of those things where it's like you look back and you're like, we're trying to create excuses for why Luther Burden had 600 yards and 2 touchdowns as a rookie, and we're like, well, he did injure his hamstring in OTA, so this year if he's fully healthy, like it's gonna be fine. Well, now that being said, I'm not taking
Cooper back
Kupp
to us
over him. Yeah, I'm not taking Cooper Kupp over him.
I think I want to do the slappy thing and be like, I'm just glad he got this injury out of the way so early into the offseason.
that is a super slappy.
That's so slappy.
That's super slappy.
Look at we got Jay Higgins going ahead of him. I mean, he's never going to recover. I saw him in a wheelchair on Twitter.
Yeah, bang. Now we take him.
I think we take him, or we could take Purdy, I guess, but
or Ibuka.
Purdy come back. Yeah, all right. Let's take Burden.
Burden. All right.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Christian Pope.
Just kidding. He's completely fine. There was nothing.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it at all.
Classic market manipulation.
I am legitimately being like much more price conscious on him now.
So we start CMC. We got RJ Harvey as our second running back there. We got Bowers at tight end and 5 wide receivers here. JSN, Tet, Jauan, Ayuk, and Luther Burden. I guess maybe 4 total if Ayuk and Luther Burden equal 1 full wide receiver right now.
Wow, where do we get our ideas? I'm sure no one else watching the stream has drafted like the exact same structure with like 6 of the 8 same players as this.
The theme of this stream is us starting and saying how we don't care about anything that's chalk or duplicated, while the only talking point any of us have is uniqueness purposes throughout the entire draft.
It's more that because I'm so actively trying to not draft the same team time and time again that I get in these spots and I'm like, God, I guess I just take Cooper Kupp here sometimes. I guess I just take Isaiah Pacheco here sometimes, so I don't have the narrowest Jaccard tree you've ever seen.
Dave is optimizing for Jaccard tree optics is
in May.
Not for the optics, for the consequences of it, dude. I want to advance 16.7% of my teams, but also get 6 semifinals, just like Leone.
I will say I had a laugh because so people are creating their teams for the fantasy best ball competition, and someone put Davis and myself in one, and then this guy Billy Jones is like creating like infographics on like who your team, and he was posting your advance rates from last year. It's just like going out. I was like, so it was 23. I was out like by 14 or 15. And then David just like conditionally formatted bright red at like 7.8%. I was just like, wow, you're never gonna live that down.
Man. Yeah, not ideal, man. I'm a sophisticated auto drafter, as Brian Hooper.
That term has a lot different meaning in the 2025 discourse.
It does, yeah.
My brain is the real-time assistance. Yeah, so Purdy.
Purdy comes back.
Purdy's great.
This is the. I guess it's not even come back. I mean, we're at we're ahead of ADP, but it still feels nice.
Feels very nice. Got the bring back. Got him stacked with McCaffrey and 2 receivers.
Man, let me tell you, dude, if Purdy rolls his ankle in week 6, it's going to have a Mahomes detonating Rashee Rice's knee like impact on my teams, because I do have like a San Francisco wide receiver on like almost every team.
They're cheaper than they almost ever are.
Who's the backup quarterback? They signed someone. It's God, is it Carson?
Mac? Is it Mac Jones?
Oh, it's Mac Jones.
Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah, that's
Mac Jones.
Honestly,
that's fine.
I feel like Mac
honestly,
could cook in that system.
Yeah. Honestly, Shanahan got his guy. It's actually fine.
Good for Shanny.
He could be like slightly better than Jimmy Garoppolo in that offense, honestly.
Oh, I mean, Jimmy G, I actually think can't hold Mac Jones's jockstrap.
Well, it's incredibly bullish. Then, let's see. You guys want to get a running back, Sharbs with the little
Sharp or Loveland, I think.
Sharbs with JSN and Tet seems to make sense.
I like it.
Yeah.
Loveland's good there too.
As JGFC correctly notes, the original trade up to 3 in that draft was to get Mac Jones.
Oh,
and then basically so many people made fun of him publicly. Like Adam Schefter was like laughing at Kyle Shanahan for doing this trade for Mac Jones, and so they took Trey Lance, and Kyle Shanahan never wanted to coach the inaccurate running, like he's like an improviser, right? I mean, that was like kind of the Lance thing. Like that, can you think of a less?
He wasn't an improviser. The thing that's tough about Lance is that he was actually like a system quarterback behind a really good offensive line at a smaller school. And so, like, he wasn't. I think he was in a run-heavy offense.
Scrambler is more what I mean.
Yeah, but I guess he was just a bad pick. He's just a bad pick. He's got a big arm and he's fast.
End of the day, Trey Lance still only has about 800 dropbacks since he was 18 years old. So, like, how could we
don't know yet?
We just don't know.
Yeah, I was into Lance because I was like, look, it's Kyle Shanahan. He handpicked this guy. It's gonna work, and that didn't happen. But
is this a scorching hot take? How about this for a hot take? Taking Lance was good because you can find a Mac Jones with the last pick.
He literally
of the
did.
NFL draft.
No, it was a good pick.
Yeah, and sometimes those are going to bust.
Sometimes it doesn't work out.
Here's the thing. This is what I believe, because I know everyone thinks they traded up for Mac and he got bullied off, but I believe that he didn't know who he was going to take. That they basically were so sick of Jimmy Garoppolo.
So misguided. Like, if that is true, Corain,
I think that's what it is.
Great.
The reporting seemed to indicate that they weren't decided.
They weren't decided. They said, we haven't decided.
That's what the reporting was, but I just cannot believe that.
I believe it. I mean, they clearly weren't decided if they wanted Mac Jones and got bullied off, because if you were decided, you would just take
Trey
Mac
Lance's
Jones.
son or Tyler Shuck's son.
Give me the mystery box, Tyler Shuck.
It does tell you everything you need to know. If it's like dude, I can't wait to take Tyler Shuck in the 3rd round of my Superflex Dynasty League.
Kyle Williams is past ADP here if we want another wide receiver, although the sidekick tells us beware of week 14 by overlap.
Look at that.
This is a terrible spot.
It is a terrible spot.
I would take Jaydon Blue here. I don't think the league things agree.
I just clicked
quick
Kyle Williams
fingers.
at the last second.
That's fine.
That was quick.
Yeah, I don't mind. I've kind of been. This is kind of the only spots I've really been taking Kyle Williams is when the room gives them to me at like a nice discount. I haven't been taking him much otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I take him because I take Drake May.
Let's see. Yeah, you take Drake May at 115. No, you have to take Drake May at 102 so you can lock up Kyle Williams.
I would have taken Drake May probably instead of Charbonnet there. Just completely like was Charbonnet the better pick? Absolutely. Would I have done it? Probably not.
What is your Drake May exposure right now?
Let me check. I don't have a ton of drafts in the books yet. I'm kind of.
Are you not worried about your Jaccard tree optics like Davis?
No.
Crane's already won, brother. He
could do bits the rest of his life.
Literally,
I'm not doing a bit.
I think we should take Jaydon Blue.
27%. Yeah, we can take Blue.
All right.
Leg up ranks having Trey Benson over Jaydon Blue is a good bit.
I don't really understand quite how we got here with Jaydon Blue, but
he's Rico Dowdle, dude. We did it. He is.
He's not, dude. Dude,
like if
what is we did it?
just treat Jaydon Blue as the non-washed version of a Cowboys running back, and you're already there.
Right, but he's an undersized committee back who is like billed as a pass catching specialist, but didn't run many routes. He was like solidly efficient as a receiver, but not like he wasn't actually a passing specialist in college. He's just like an undersized back who can catch the ball okay. Rico Dowdle literally has 20 pounds on Jaydon Blue. Like he's just a different type of back. I know some of these undersized runners have been good, but that's not who he is. Like Bucky, Kyron, these dudes are really good runners in college. They're just undersized. Achane, excellent runner, traditional runner in college, just really undersized. That's not really Jaydon Blue at all.
It's just so unpersuasive to me because the other guys in this backfield are so provably dust.
Okay. I mean, I think makes him like an okay pick, but I just have trouble getting excited about like a talent profile that's pretty weak.
Crane, that totally agree with you. I think Jaydon Blue stinks probably.
Okay.
The difference is, this is the thing, right? Because he's the rookie, Jaydon Blue does have just more of that mystery box upside. On the other hand, he also comes with the Kamani Vidal downside.
Yes.
And that Rico Dowdle did not have. Rico Dowdle was not going to end up on the practice squad.
100%.
No, that's true. That's true. Although it would be crazy if he ended up on the practice squad because that would mean that Deuce Vaughn was active.
My heart of hearts is I'm more and more coming around on thinking Miles Sanders is going to be.
I think Miles Sanders might be the way to play it. Like, do you want to talk about who actually is the Rico Dowdle?
God, but I mean, Miles Sanders
it's more likely to be Sanders.
Truly got nothing left.
Jaydon Blue had a really poor success rate. He didn't get many carries. His elusive rating is horrendous. His breakaway percentage is really bad. Like, there's nothing in this guy's rushing profile that flashes whatsoever. It's just it's an opportunity-based play, which isn't the point of rookies so much.
Do we want to lock up Bryce Young since we have that stack in that game, or do you want to sit on quarterback for like?
I think we should get, because I'd be fine taking Geno and Bryce Young, so I'm happy to get.
Who do you want?
Bryce.
Either.
Okay. Man, all right, I'll get Bryce. Yeah, I'm good with a 3 quarterback build here, and we'll need to. Both these guys have week 14 bye. Man, I missed drafting before the NFL schedule, and I didn't have to stare at those fucking bye weeks.
Yeah.
Life was so much easier then.
Crane, I predict by August you will have come to my side on the Jaydon Blue thing. That is my current prediction.
I would like to be on your side. The thing I don't like about Jaydon Blue is the price. He's coming up now into the 130s, 120s.
Players after round 10 anyway, dude.
but he's in round 10. But damn near.
You're taking him over Rashad White, Trey Bent. Like, you're taking him either over pure handcuffs who are either like basic zeros or their starter gets injured. So like who are you taking him over that you think can take over their backfield?
Yeah, I mean, even a guy like Ray Davis, I would say I feel a lot more
Ray Davis. Ray Davis, like I agree, but I think
Ray Davis is going like 15 picks later now.
Do you guys want to do Geno here and be done at quarterback?
I do.
I think we're in good shape, and then we're pretty balanced here. So we got Brock, Bryce, and Geno at quarterback. We still got the solid running back room: CMC, RJ Harvey, Zach Charbonnet, and not Miles Sanders. Our wide receiver room: JSN, Tet McMillan, Jauan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, Luther Burden, Kyle Williams, and Brock Bowers. The one thing that I tend to agree with Davis on this side is I do think Jaydon Blue is just going to get more and more expensive. So I don't mind the idea of trying to
or he's going to get tootened.
I think he could get more expensive for sure, but I guess I struggle to see him getting like super expensive unless we get some positive news on him, which would actually cause me to change my mind. Like if there was a hype train on Jaydon Blue about like, this guy's, he can do everything. Like we don't have to limit what he's doing. He's not just a satellite guy. I would just change my tune, and then his price would rise and I would have missed out on cheap Jaydon Blue. So that's a risk of not being super into him now. But if it proceeds like I think it will, I do struggle to see him rising much from here. Like he shouldn't rise from here.
Yeah, but think about how much. I mean, I guess he is. There is a wall of resistance in that. But I think he could easily climb to this Tracy Scatabo Warren range with the right news reporting.
Yeah, he's just nowhere near those guys in terms of the Tootin Scatabo. Like, yeah. Well,
Davis has got Tootin, and granted, this is a ship chasing draft, but Tootin goes ahead of ADP in this draft at 107. So the Slappies say we are not standing down.
I would like to be in on Blue. Like, I think it's a fun way to play the backfield, but it's just.
I think
you're really paying a lot
just getting hung up on like prospect profiles once the rubber meets the road.
Just want to do Henry here as our tight end 2, little phantom stack with Kyle Williams.
Yeah, check the buys
at 14 and 8.
Good. Like Jaydon Blue, like prospect profile, like whatever. He's the only Cowboys running back who can beat a 4.6 40.
Yeah, but his breakaway stuff sucked. Like I think actually his like football athleticism maybe isn't that good. But I hear you.
Also, I mean, again, I agree with all of this. Like he was a bad prospect. He was not even going to play for Texas last year until 2 other guys got injured in the preseason for Texas. One guy tore his ACL, CJ Baxter tore his ACL, another guy hurt his Achilles. Like he literally wasn't going to play. But
yeah,
like Raheem Mostert, dude. Raheem Mostert was a freaking track guy at IUPUI, not actually IUPUI
for sure, but
Purdue. But
Mostert's also like, yeah. I mean, the thing with Mostert is he didn't do anything until his 7th season or something. He was a special team.
Guys,
this is a Shipley chasing, I think.
I was gonna say, get in Shipley. Feels like a running back pick.
I'm down for one of those guys.
All right, I love Shipley.
I like Shipley too.
All right. Yeah, so we're at a 3-5-6-2. We got 2 more picks left. Done at quarterback. I mean, in really good shape at tight end. I mean, I think we have 2 luxury picks, honestly, based on how this team's constructed. Definitely maybe 1 more wide receiver and then whatever we want.
Someone in the chat just hit it. It's you're basically just hoping to get Tyron Tracy on the Cowboys.
Yeah, but Tyron Tracy was cheaper.
How many teams do you think Raheem Mostert played for before the 49ers?
I know this. It was 3.
No, it was 4.
He was on 2 practice squads, and then he was on the 49ers, and then they sent him back. Yeah, I don't remember.
He's on the Dolphins. He played in 2015. He was on the Dolphins, Ravens, and Browns. And then 2016, he was on the Bears. And then he got his first carry in 2016 for the 49ers. He just 1 carry. Then he got 6 carries the following year. Then 34. And then I guess he broke out in 2019 in the playoffs because he had 137 carries that year. So I don't know. The situation is so good that it does make, but I think the Vidal comp is kind of perfect.
The Vidal comp is good, but the J.K. Dobbins is a guy who is not coming back from injury. It's a guy who's coming back from sucking.
Right.
You know, he sucked.
And
but
he's
the
about 30
way,
picks more expensive than Vidal ever got.
The way Sanders was used, though, too, like the coaching staff liked using him in pass situations and like trusted him in pass blocking. Like he could be just annoying enough to have a meaningful role, even if he's not breaking off any long runs or breaking any tackles.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Tyron Tracy, people are comparing him to. I mean, Tracy also stayed much, much cheaper and is like 15 pounds heavier as well.
What if Jaydon Blue has been eating In-N-Out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area every day?
Let's get...
I'm hoping for better weight than that.
Pete, do you like this?
See the photo? What?
Do you like this chat overlay? I thought about turning it on my stream.
So
yesterday.
I love the concept of it. The font has to be bigger. It's completely unusable.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
I like the concept a lot.
Yeah, this is like what everyone does on Twitch.
We're on the clock here.
I take AD Mitchell here every time.
Sure, I like AD Mitchell.
I'm good. I like AD Mitchell. Yeah, let's do it. AD Mitchell, our 7th wide receiver, 3.572. I do think this is just whatever we want. Probably a wide receiver, an 8th wide receiver.
We can do a running back too. Is there anything left?
There's not. Running back is wiped. Unless you want to double tap Miles Sanders and Jaydon Blue.
I would do
Honestly,
it.
I would.
Yeah, I would do it.
I kind of want to do that. Let's just bet against Javonte.
Yeah. It's funny because I've done that when I drafted with Hayden. We did the Jarquez Hunter Corum double bet against Kyron. This one's funner in that Javonte's way worse than Kyron, and it's very cheap to do. I guess the Corum Hunter is very cheap too, but
I like it more. It's like I'm just betting against Javonte, and I don't have to. Both these profiles are bad, but Javonte's might be worse. So let me just bet against him.
There you go. God bless these 20-second drafts. Absolutely rip.
They're so good. The chat, by the way, asked me. They said there's no In-N-Out in Dallas. There is.
They have Whataburger. Yeah, Whataburger's the classic.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, don't they? There's a few In-N-Outs.
There is
in Texas.
Phil Maffa, by the way, is like 235 pounds. I'm monitoring. I have a Google News alert for Phil Maffa.
The fact that he has an ADP of 215.9 means he has been selected at least once in draft season.
Yeah. And as much as I'm talking about weight, I don't just only want big guys. It's like, Bucky, and someone mentioned he's really small. Like Bucky was a really good college runner, like really good. And then it's like, well, will it translate because he's small? Achane, really good college runner. Kyron, really good college
Production
runner.
translates.
Production translates. And then the peripherals around this guy, like Bucky was unathletic, but his peripherals were good. Like he wasn't like a breakaway runner, but he broke tackles. He was consistent. He was very productive. So you can obviously, like, a guy being small doesn't mean I'm writing him off, but when you're asking me to buy into a smaller guy who was like a bad college runner, I was like, oh man, what's the play? I guess it's just opportunity. But I really like that we doubled up the Cowboys running backs.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought of doing that until we had our great Dallas Cowboys running back debate. But yeah, I'm kind of into it.
Wow,
all right,
only 43 pre-draft contests, Peter.
What's that? Oh, pre-draft?
Yeah.
you're gonna shame me because you thought it was a good idea to stream 150.
I am not shaming you. I just I guess you had NBA sickness that you were.
I had NBA sickness, and I only did a couple slow drafts. I just refused to enter slow draft hell, so that kept.
Have you been doing any MLB BRs?
I haven't. You having fun with it?
It is, yeah, because they're only for people whose time is worthless. So it's pretty fun.
What a tagline for Underdog MLB dailies.
Yeah, it's just me, Nez, and
Promo code Davis.
Yeah, BRD MC3 in every lobby. It's a blast. I do really. It's sick because everyone who plays Major League Baseball DFS is now basically fans of the Oakland Athletics. So we all just are sweating out Tyler Soderstrom and Brent Rooker every single night. They're like the most important men in the world.
Nez was all over that. I remember the one MLB show I did, and he was just like, "Yeah, I think the entire Athletics team is undervalued."
Yeah, Soderstrom and Langeliers are my two most drafted players. Absolute keys to the season, and I'm advancing, below average. So it carries over. It carries over from sport to sport.
Okay. I was gonna make a joke about you can it can go unsaid that you're advancing below average. It's what everyone the assumption. You just tell us when you're advancing above average.
By the way, it's not Javonte's second year off ACL. It's Javonte third year off ACL, right, Corinne?
It's third year, yeah.
Third year off ACL. So I think we could probably be done mentioning the ACL.
We did, yeah. We did this.
We could stop talking about Kyle Pitts' knee injury too.
Yeah.
Okay. Final team here. 3-6-7-2. Brock Purdy, Bryce Young, Geno Smith. The bye week bros can't come after us because we got Geno in there. Week 8. Christian McCaffrey, RJ Harvey, Zach Charbonnet, Will Shipley, Jaydon Blue, and Miles Sanders for a little of the cheap handcucking. JSN and Tet, never forget that they play together in week 17. Jauan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk bring it back in week 17 with the Golden Bears. Luther Burden, Kyle Williams past ADP because Pat mandates one New England player on every team. 80 Mitchell, Brock Bowers, and Hunter Henry because Pat actually stipulates 2.
It is 2, yeah. Yeah. I was worried that you didn't understand the rules we'd put in place, but you did.
Yeah. Thoughts on this team?
Let me mention one more thing about the double up on the Cowboys, and I promise not to shit on Jaydon Blue this time. I just think like this running back room, you have McCaffrey, and then we do a lot of stuff that's really probably back-weighted, or contingent. Charbonnet, Shipley. I think even RJ Harvey will probably be back-weighted as a rookie, even though he should be fairly productive out of the gate. So we're kind of like trying to mine some production out of the Dallas Cowboys backfield, which could help this team a lot. So I think it really fits the team well.
Yeah. Davis, thoughts? What do you think about this wide receiver room?
I mean, really would not be surprising for this to be the kind of wide receiver room that you look at if like in week 14, you're like, what was I expecting to get out of? Like Brandon Ayuk didn't play until week 7. 80 Mitchell got cut. Kyle Williams is new Jalinko. Luther Burden's behind Olamide Zaccheaus. Ted McMillan has 617 receiving yards. Jauan Jennings is our generation's Marquez Callaway. But shout out to our first wide receiver being a PPR slot merchant and half PPR. Like this could be a wide receiver room where no one averages more than 10 points per game. Like so easily.
Dude, I love how broken you are. Like the entire point of best ball is everyone drafts a team and immediately think it's the best team ever. You're just roster baiting to it. You only imagine the most rosy scenario for it. And you look at everything and you're like, oh my God, this could be the worst team I've ever drafted.
I mean, even by rose-colored glasses standards, this is a pretty bad wide receiver. Like you do not have to squint to see why this one.
We took five wide receivers before pick 90.
Yeah, and we took Jackson Smith and Jigba, a Carolina Panthers rookie, a 5th-year breakout, and then a guy whose ACL is currently torn.
I think he's a 6th-year breakout.
No, you guys got that wrong yesterday. I was listening to you guys talk yesterday or sometime. It's year 5.
Okay.
But how about Brock Bowers? That boy nice.
Now that is a tight end room that I can get into. You know, that right there. That's you want to talk yourself into it. That could be Spider-Man pointing meme, right? Hunter Henry, Brock Bowers just trading 8 target weeks. You know,
I love the Bryce Young triple with the Luther bring back. We got the Bryce Young skinny with the double bring back, Sharbs and JSN. So some nice week 17 correlation there too.
We got Geno with Bowers.
Yep.
So we don't have any Giants, but yeah. we got a couple Patriots just for shits and gigs.
I mean, this is the reality you live in when you don't take a wide receiver till round 3. Though you're like, how do I get good scores out of this room? And you just can't see it.
Well, I think okay, Davis, something's wrong with your rose-colored glasses. They don't seem very rose to me. You take JSN, Jauan Jennings, our generation's Russell Gage, but you get you have some guys who should put up some production early on, and then the wide receiver room is pretty back-weighted.
Really,
with these
only
rookies and Ayuk.
Like is week 3. What's our wide receiver 3 project for? Like not.
I want to go look at your teams. Like what better wide
They're all
receiver
bad too, Peter. I got Jauan Jennings on all of them.
I think our wide receiver 3 project. What is T-Mac gonna project for in week 3? That's the answer. Whatever he projects for.
9.6 points.
Sure. Okay.
I'll give Davis. It's a fragile. It's fragile.
It's fragile.
It is a little bit fragile. It's a little maybe too back-weighted. But whatever. We took
it might not be. Like Burden could just be a starter from week 1, right? But it's like it's a huge it's like we're making an
now Davis is telling us that we're being too pessimistic.
No, I'm just explaining that I'm not a doomer. I'm not like one of these people that thinks that every team sucks, but like this is more fragile than I think you would generally like.
I think part of it is that our number 1 wide receiver is Brock Bowers.
Yeah. Another good point. Sure.
So, he's playing at tight end, and we also have Hunter Henry. So like there's going to be weeks where Bowers and Henry, especially early on, maybe both are hitting our lineup. So yeah, Bowers is our number 1 wide receiver is really part of it.
All right. I got to get rolling here. Pat, let people know what you guys got going at Leg Up this week.
Yeah, Matt Irby had a good article. He's been cranking out some good content on the site. Had a good one looking at first downs as a overlooked wide receiver stat and identifying 9 receivers who he thinks maybe a little bit undervalued based on that analysis.
Maybe a guy named Jauan Jennings appeared on that article.
Yeah. What about that, Davis? Not Russell Gage now, is he?
Look, man, no person right now currently in the best ball space is more financially invested in Jauan Jennings working out.
I will call that bet.
I believe he's my most drafted wide receiver pre-draft till now.
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm sure there's someone who has more on him than you do. Anyways,
there haven't been that many big dogs that have rolled off, but sure.
But I'm working on a couple articles for next week, so look for those. And yeah, if you want to check out the Sidekick Dynamic Rankings, legendaryupside.com/sidekick.
Beautiful. Davis, what do you got cooking?
Just did a stream with Sam Sherman, so if you've been missing him, he even made some charts. So he was a good house guest. He BYOC brought his own charts. And then I've got videos going live Saturday and Sunday. So if you're bored, and I guess I'll have one come out on Memorial Day morning as well, because I think I'm going to go golf Memorial Day morning, so probably not streaming that day. So YouTube, some good stuff.
There you go. For me, announced a new show I'm going to start doing next week in conjunction with the randomizer returning. I'm going to do an hour block right before where someone from the chat wins a chance to hop on and draft with me. You just have to be a YouTube member, and the chat's going to be YouTube member only. I'll have you guys do a hashtag. We'll do a little spin, and I'm going to just DM you a StreamYard link, sight unseen, and we will see what happens. So excited.
Peter, I am truly curious how this goes. I
can't wait.
I am the thing and this is so boring. I don't think what's going to make it uncomfortable will be the personality of your guests. It is going to be how bad they are at figuring out audio and camera, and there's going to be like reverb because their speaker's going to be too loud. Like that is the nightmare scenario.
Well, here's the thing. One of the fine print things is you have to be able to hop on with no tech issues. So you might have to cycle through. But yeah, one of my favorite improv shows I ever saw was Paul Scheer just would let random people from the audience come up and he would do scenes with them. And like the degree of difficulty of doing improv with someone who doesn't know how to do improv and make it good it's just astronomical how hard that is. And he was able to do it. Luckily, drafting a best ball team with someone you don't know is way, 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 way easier. But just that ethos of just being like, let's meet a new person and see how it goes has always enchanted me. So I'm excited to get
this does seem a bit of a heat check moment for you. As you know, you're already considered the best host in the game. Now you gotta bring on with random people to show you can do it. I mean, I'm gonna be impressed, but it's
we'll see.
It's
well,
tough.
Here's the thing. Yeah.
The technical difficulties thing, by the way, I mean, you can't even count on that from me. How are you going?
Davis broadcasted from his backyard, and you can't even get a stream started. I mean, this is going to be cake.
Yeah. So
the barrier to clear.
Okay. That was me making fucking chicken salad out of chicken shit because my literal power went out, and I still found a way to make it work. I'm the one that has to start and end this Swolecast, brother. Like, I made it happen.
Guys, our lives as streamers are just so tough. It's so tough.
I'm also not saying that.
All right. I got to get going.
What if Raymond Zanny becomes a YouTube member and then wins the wheel, and so you're just drafting with it, and like he just keeps winning?
Did you see my response to someone on Twitter? Because someone was like, what's the worst that could happen? And I said, the worst that could happen is a mortgage kingpin from Rhode Island with a loud dog comes on and calls me a douche. So I'm pretty sure I've already experienced the worst. All right, guys. We will see you next week on Tuesday for ADP chasing, of course. And like I said, if you guys are in the Discord, go check out the thread. If you're having a hard time finding it for the Florida trip, you can ping someone in there. But if you go within the Ship Chasing channel, you hit the threads up there, you shall see it. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.